Yo, what's happening, guys? Coming at you from none other than downforsoundshop.com. And in this video, we're going to be going over the question, why are my subs going out, or how do you tell that your subwoofers are going out? So let's get into that.
Wanna feel the heat? Wanna feel the heat? Yeah. Wanna feel the heat?
Alright, so let's go into this video. We get asked this a lot. How do I tell if my subs are going out? Or a lot of people may think that their subs are going out, but they're probably actually fine. But people get used to the amount of bass that they have, and they think that something's wrong with their sub, but the fact of it is you're just getting used to your amount of bass that you have, because we call that getting bit by the bass bug. You say you start out with like a single 12 and like 2,000 watts, and you play it for a couple weeks or a couple months, and at first you're like, man, this is loud as hell, it's getting down. And then after a couple of months you're like, yeah, it's just not hitting like it once did. It's probably hitting the exact same, or maybe even a little bit louder than since the subs broke in, but to your ear or to your experience, it's just not as loud to you. You're just getting used to it. So again, that's getting bit by the bass bug. Then you move up to something like this, a ZV615 on 4,000 watts or 6,000 watts. And when you get it, it's twice as loud as what you had, and you're like, man, this is perfect, this is all I've been looking for. But again, after 2 or 4 months down the road, a year down the road, you're like, oh, it's just not as loud as it once was, but you're just getting used to it. But sometimes you do have issues with your subwoofers, and depending on how old they are, you can have different issues. One of the things that I see, and I have people message me a lot, is and it always makes me laugh, you have this foam, the surround on subwoofers, and after subwoofers get like really old and people have them in their vehicles for a long time, this surround material will start to deteriorate, and it'll start to crack, and people will just keep playing them, and eventually there will be no surround there, and it'll just be the cone assembly going up and down. So people will ask me, do you have a re-foaming kit? They want to re-foam their subwoofer. They want to put another surround on there, because other than this, the rest of the subwoofer is playing fine. But you can't well, I haven't seen somebody go and re-foam a subwoofer. Usually you have to get a re-cone, which is the total soft part. It's going to be everything that you see in here, the spider, the cone, the surround, the voice coil, like all that stuff, like it's going to slide down in there, and like that's going to be the re-cone kit. So obviously you're going to get a new surround in that. So that's one of the things that obviously you can tell by your eye that your subwoofer is getting bad or is going out. Sometimes you can have a dust cap come loose. This is your dust cap on the front right here. We got this Hutchinson in front of us. So if your dust cap starts to come loose, you can it'll peel up right around the edge right here. It's super easy to fix that if you catch it in time. You'll hear like a kind of a slapping noise if your dust cap is coming off. The best thing to do is just get some glue, like some epoxy, and put down in between there and set something on top of it and glue it back down. Or if it's a big area where it's off, you might as well try to go ahead and easily or carefully take off the whole dust cap, scuff around the edge of the dust cap where it meets the cone right here, and then just stick it back on there again. Put something a little heavy on it so it gets good pressure, and it puts it down there, and I'll let it sit there for 24 hours, and it should be good to go again. The next thing I would say would probably be your spider, sorry, not your spider, but your tensile leads. Let me use this big sub over here because it's easier to see. Well, actually, let me tilt it that way. So can you see in here where the tensile leads are? So here's your tensile leads. So this is obviously your push terminals right here. Your wires from your amplifier come into here, and it transfers power through your terminal into your tensile leads, and then it goes over to the voice coil right here. So this is a ZV6, so it has dual tensils per lead, big beefy subwoofer, totally necessary, definitely need that. If you have a subwoofer or the tensile leads don't have proper length to them, sometimes you'll have too much, and when the sub starts moving up and down to full stroke, you can have where your tensile leads, I haven't seen it on ZV6s or Sundown subs, but other subs, they'll start slapping the cone right here, so they call that tensile slap. So it's slapping the cone. You can actually hear that sometimes, especially if the subwoofer is inverted. So that can cause a subwoofer to fail prematurely. Obviously, that can happen from playing outside of box tuning and or way overpowering a subwoofer, making it move way more than it should be moving. And also, if you're clipping, while we're right here, people will say, oh, burn out my tensile lead, where the tensile meets right here in this triple joint. This is called a triple joint because it's where the voice coil, the spider, and the cone meet each other right here. So right here where the tensile goes in, or where it connects to the voice coil, they'll say, oh, I blew out my, or I burned up my tensile lead. The tensile leads are garbage. If you're burning up your tensile leads right here, it's because you're clipping or distorting your subwoofer so bad and or overpowering it so much. It's causing it to fail right here, because that's where it builds up the most heat most of the time. So you'll see people, they'll like burn their tensile leads in half, because most of the time it's because of a ton of distortion and mainly distortion and clipping going through your tensils, and it can't handle that for a very long time. Next thing, sometimes spiders get old. They'll start cracking or kind of falling apart after many years of abuse, like you can see that. So obviously you can hear, or if your subwoofer has a tensile lead malfunction, or like you lose one, you're gonna have less output, because then you'll just be playing, you'll be open on your ohms on one side, and you'll just be playing off of the other side of the subwoofer, so obviously it won't be as loud. So that's some things that will show you that your subwoofer is going out. You can start hearing those things. It starts to wear out over time, but most of the time people will blow their subwoofers from like abuse before a subwoofer will actually wear out. Like, they're very durable speakers and very durable parts used under more normal applications. I mean, I and most bass heads take their stuff to like crazy extremes, so that's why you can have stuff fail prematurely. As for instance, this subwoofer, a ZV6, is rated at 2500 watts RMS. I don't personally know anybody that is running this subwoofer on 2500 watts RMS because people know it'll take a lot more power than that. But if you want this subwoofer to last for 10 years, you probably want to run it on RMS power. Is it going to be half as loud? Probably. But if you want something to last for a really long time, then that's how you're going to have to treat it. You're going to have to treat it with respect, basically. Just like a vehicle, if you want it to last a long time, you can't be redlining it at every red light, like, or drag racing it at every red light, because you know the vehicle is not going to last a long time if you're running it hard like that. You're going to get way shorter life out of it. So anyway, oh, one other thing I just thought of: if you overpower a subwoofer and or clip and distort it for so long, you'll start to hear your voice coil scraping the inside of your motor. I can probably, let's see, you can't hear it. So and this is why we tell people, do not push down on the cone of a subwoofer, because if you push straight up and down on it, you can see there's no sound there. But people will get a brand new sub and they'll push on the side right here, and they're like, oh, the voice coil's bad. Listen, because you're basically pushing on it, and it's rocking the coil to the side, and it's making it rub on the inside of the motor right here. Listen. So that's but if you heat up, obviously when you heat stuff, it expands. So when a voice coil starts getting super hot, it starts expanding. So what happens is that gap that is perfectly calculated to go in and out of, actually I'll show you real quick if you want to come over here, goes in the motor right here like that. So if you have it properly shimmed, this circle right here fits perfectly inside of that circle right there, with a certain amount of gap on the inside and the outside. So it should slide in and out of there without touching anything, because the spider is holding the voice coil perfectly in the middle of that, where it doesn't rub on anything, because you're going to shim it on here. So once you shim it, it's going to be perfectly aligned, so it goes in and out like that without touching anything. Another thing that just popped in my head, when you put too much power on a subwoofer, or you play out of box tuning, you can sometimes hear people say your subwoofer bottoms out. What happens there is your bottom of your voice coil right here hits your back plate on your motor. So you see the back plate right there? It's not open for your voice coil to go out of. So what happens is this goes all the way down and it starts hitting the back plate, and that means it's bottoming out, and it also is shorting out the circuit. When this starts hitting the bottom of the back plate, it's hitting metal down here, which is, so all this power that's going through your tensile leads into the voice coil is basically hitting metal. So it's basically causing a dead short and can blow your amp and or your subwoofer. So, but that's what happens when you bottom out a subwoofer. It hits the back plate like that. Other subwoofers, oh, I feel like this this video is getting super long. But anyway, other subwoofers, they will be set up differently where the spider will not allow it to go down far enough to hit the back plate. So it's going to hold it up farther, but then you can start ripping your spider apart, because that's when it's trying to hold it from going down that far, is basically your spider's getting super taxed for that reason. But anyway, that's how the subwoofer, the voice coil goes in and out of the gap in the motor. And when it starts getting too big, when you start heating this up too much, it'll start scraping on the pole. This is called a pole right here. And then you have the outside. This is a magnet around the outside. So this starts getting bigger. So it starts making the gap that it's going in and out of a lot smaller, and eventually you'll see, I don't know if we have any blown subs right here, but you may have seen some people that have blown subwoofers, and you'll see scratches on the side of the voice coil right here, or on the inside of the voice coil, or both, because it's starting to get so heated up and swell so much. Sometimes you can get away with that for a little while and turn it off and it play fine, or you may hear that scratching. So voice coil scratching is another thing that can happen with subwoofers starting to go out. So I know this has been super lengthy, but I felt like I was just dumping out all this information for you. At the end of the day, I'm here to help people and try to share as much knowledge as I have with people. I don't know everything, but I try to share what I do know with people, because I know these are common questions that come up for people that have been doing it for a long time or are very new to it, obviously. But anyway, hope this information has found you well. If you need anything, hit us up at downforsoundshop.com or give us a call, 702-701-9800. And until next time, we'll see you. What's happening, guys? If y'all enjoyed all the hot content that you saw in that video, be sure to follow me on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram under the Lifer Price, and also Down for Sound Shop on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget Snapchat. I'm JPD4S on there, so be sure to check me out there. We'll see you in the next one. Later.